my beloved child, from the high, exalted, and holy throne of eternity, I rejoice with exceeding joy as I witness the subtle and wondrous spiritual movements beginning to manifest around your life. Do you not perceive it, my little one? When a weary traveler comes to sit silently beside you and suddenly bursts into tears, they weep not because of the eloquent arguments you speak, but because of the radiant, heavenly peace that automatically radiates and blankets them from the deepest recesses of your spirit. When a soul, trembling in confusion and deadlocked, seeks you out, they do so not to question you or to beg for the wise counsel of this world, but simply to stand near you, as though merely being within the atmosphere of your presence allows them to feel a miraculous transforming power that their human intellect can neither name nor explain. Oh, my child, this is no ordinary psychological phenomenon. It is the supernatural flow of the living water of my spirit, overflowing from the innermost depths of your heart. It is the eternal living water that I solemnly deposited within you from the very beginning, and now it is bursting its banks to flow naturally, relying not on any forced effort of the flesh, but entirely upon my glorious presence dwelling within you. Let me remind you of the sacred story in the scriptures about the woman who had suffered from a hemorrhage for 12 long years. She had spent all her livelihood on earthly physicians, yet her illness only grew worse, and her soul fell into utter despair. Yet, amidst the pressing and chaotic crowd, she summoned all her faith to slip behind me, reaching out her trembling finger to touch the hem of Jesus' garment. For she said to herself, "If I only touch his garment, I will be made well." Instantly, the supernatural power from my very essence was released without a single word spoken or ritual performed. The flow of blood dried up, and her soul was completely restored. Today, I am making you that very hem of the garment of grace in this world, so that anyone who touches you will receive healing from on high. For this sublime purpose, I want you to thoroughly understand a truth. I have never required you to become an eloquent orator, a scholar well-versed in all knowledge, or a great figure who knows everything in this universe. The only thing my Father's heart yearningly desires from you is that you be yourself a truthful creation, a resilient child who has courageously walked through the furnace of affliction, who knows the depths of gut-wrenching pain, and who has been shattered by life, yet, amidst boundless adversity, still chooses to stand firmly at my footstool. It is this holy honesty, this absolute alignment between the life you live daily and the faith you profess, that is the spiritual treasure making you entirely distinct, standing out in a generation filled with hypocrisy and deceit. And those miserable souls imprisoned in the dark shackles of the shadow of death will instantly recognize that pure beam of light. They will automatically seek you out. Just as a parched traveler in the wilderness finds their way to a cool, refreshing well, when they encounter you, they will behold in your eyes a mystery they cannot find anywhere else in this defiled world, a gaze overflowing with compassion, devoid of harsh condemnation, free of contempt, and without forced coercion, offering only eternal truth hand in hand with a sincere, unconditional love. You will not need to preach lengthy, dry academic discourses, sometimes merely sitting in silence beside someone who has given up and broken down, offering a warm, wordless hand clasp in the stillness, or a nod of deep, profound understanding is more than enough to carry heavenly authority to break every invisible chain binding their soul. For it is an unchangeable truth. When you are present in love, I am present when you look upon a sinner with eyes of mercy It is my omniscient eyes looking through you. And when you breathe out sweet forgiveness, it is I releasing the boundless spring of my mercy through your life. Because you have truly become a pure channel, a glorious window through which my light shines into the darkness of others' lives. Therefore, my beloved child, never fixate your eyes on or chase after grand results or resounding achievements according to the shallow definitions and measurements of this world. From my high court, I am training you and opening your spiritual eyes so that you may see the supreme, eternal value of a redeemed sinful soul, of a broken heart fully mended, or of a timely word of encouragement that prevents a soul standing on the edge of the abyss from taking their own life. These sacred events will certainly never appear on human news headlines, nor will there be glamorous statistics to report to the public. But I tell you the truth, in the palaces of heaven, before myriads of majestic angels, every single one of these quiet moments is solemnly recorded as a glorious victory that shakes the spiritual realm. I never measure the value of your life by physical success, but by your unswerving faithfulness, not by the prominent stature of the work you do, but by a heart of complete obedience, humbling itself under my mighty hand. Rejoice, for a new, holy lineage, a royal generation is quietly being conceived and formed through your faithful life. I am not limiting my power to use you only to touch individual souls. Rather, I am using you as a chief cornerstone to build a great movement of faith. A new generation that will carry the holy fire you have resiliently guarded through countless storms. The young children you once laid hands on to pray for. The lost youth you encouraged with gentle words. And the adults who sat silently in the fullness of your spirit-filled presence, they shall be the next glorious generation of inheritors. And the light burning within you will become a wondrous flame, awakening within the depths of their hearts eternal life, a hunger for truth, and the complete holiness of the kingdom. Yet, with the encompassing love and the solemn gravity of a father, I remind you to ever guard and keep your heart pure and untainted before all the subtle temptations of the enemy. Never allow the weariness of the flesh to entice you into doubting grace. Do not let the steady repetition of daily tasks cause you to lose the initial freshness and burning fervor of your first love. And absolutely never permit results that seem delayed, according to your longing to breed skepticism within you regarding my promises. Each time you decide to bypass human intellect to choose absolute trust, you are directly tearing down a fortified wall of obstruction in the spiritual realm. And every single time you choose unshakable steadfastness amidst trials, my own hand will lay another solid foundation stone into the eternal, grand masterpiece that you are privileged to help build. I thoroughly search your heart during those midnight watches when you ponder, asking yourself in weariness, could the small, hidden things I do day by day truly make any difference in this vast world? At this very hour, I solemnly declare and proclaim to you, your slightest action, your every courageous decision to refuse sin, and your every intercession choked with tears are being meticulously and preciously recorded by the angels into the book of eternal remembrance before my throne, just as the Apostle Paul was inspired to write in his letter to the Galatians. Let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. And a glorious day is coming when the very sinful souls you once touched in the darkness will stand boldly before the throne as living witnesses for you, testifying that it was through your silent, persistent obedience that they did not give up, but returned to the Father's throne and reclaimed their true identity. O my beloved and precious child, do not lose heart. Do not be discouraged. Continue to use the spiritual milk to water the seeds of truth that I have faithfully entrusted into your hands. Continue to intercede fervently for the hard-hearted who are not yet ready to receive salvation, and continue to place your unswerving trust in me. Even though your physical eyes cannot see any manifesting sign at present, for I solemnly pledge that a great, magnificent harvest is drawing near and will not tarry, and when that perfect moment breaks forth, it will not only allow you to behold the sweet fruit of the tears you sowed, but will also wide open your spiritual eyes to gaze upon a reality far greater and more glorious, that you have truly become a core part, an inseparable link in my eternal grand plan. And I desire my word to illuminate your life every single moment. My beloved child, amidst this fallen world tossed by tumultuous waves and the myriad anxieties rising like rolling billows in your mind, lift up your head and listen closely to the gentle voice from the throne of grace. I am your Father, the Almighty who formed your pure soul before time began. Even before the first light was called out of the thick darkness, I see you, my little one who bears my image. And today, I speak to you not with threats to sow fear, but with a heavenly love that surpasses all understanding of the mortal mind. Because when I look into you, I see the seed of imperishable glory. I call out to you with a deep, majestic voice, inviting you to step out of the shifting vortex of distraction, away from the clamor and noise of the world that surrounds you day and night, blurring your spiritual eyes. Oh, child, awake and open your spiritual ears to perceive. Do you not notice that something is powerfully shifting and changing in the spiritual atmosphere? The glorious heavens are moving violently, and deep fractures are silently widening right beneath the foundations of the things you once believed to be the most secure and certain upon the earth. I do not speak these truths to cause you panic or dismay, but to comfort and remind, my beloved child, to remain fully awake to the times of the kingdom. For the perfect timing I have decreed from eternity is drawing closer than ever before. And those souls who remain immersed in a deep slumber, refusing to awaken and prepare their hearts, will be caught by surprise and swiftly swept away by the purging wave rising from heaven. For many years, you have lived too long, too complacently in the familiarity of physical comforts, clinging to a false sense of security built by human society to deceive souls. You once presumptuously thought that the house sheltering you from rain and sun, the daily job bringing fame and fortune, and even the brilliant plans you mapped out for your own future were a solid, unchangeable foundation to rely upon for life. But today, with the encompassing love of a father, I come to awaken you and say, not one of these tangible, material things is everlasting or unchangeable. When the end times arrive, everything belonging to this material world will be shaken to its very roots. All human architectural works will vanish like soap bubbles, and only that which is intimately bound to my essence, nourished by the living word, and aligned with my eternal purpose, will be able to stand boldly through the glorious trial of fire. My child, the time has come for you to courageously acknowledge a truth. This defiled world has never been, and will never be, a place for you to anchor your long-term hope or build an eternal fortress for your soul. Remember the powerful words of Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount of old, when he likened the one who hears and does his words to a wise man who built his house upon the rock. Though the rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, it stood firmly and did not fall. Conversely, the one who hears but does not obey is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And when the storms and tempests beat upon it, the house immediately collapsed, and great was its fall. Today, I do not want my child to suffer that painful collapse. So I earnestly invite you to choose to place your entire life upon the solid rock of my word. My omniscient eyes ever behold the things your eyes of flesh have never seen, and my ears ever hear the divine frequencies your mortal ears have never listened to. Now, in this holy atmosphere, I am summoning you, calling you to direct your gaze beyond the material veil of the present to contemplate the glorious reality being powerfully formed in eternity. A trumpet of angels is resounding, echoing across the spiritual realm to signal a grand convocation, a monumental shift in human history that is close at hand. This is absolutely not a summons to lead you to judgment or fear, but a Father's call of love to urge you into a process of spiritual preparation, a complete and holy consecration from body to spirit. For the days coming upon this earth will be exceedingly fierce, utterly unlike anything you have ever tasted or witnessed before in your life. I am allowing a great purging to take place across the entire globe, a shaking of spiritual proportions that will touch and sift every area of your life, from your personal life, spiritual relationships, family bonds, community responsibilities, and it will even shine upon and expose the secret sins, the darkest hidden corners in the depths of your heart. My beloved child, from my high, radiant throne of glory, I ever watch and look deep into the innermost recesses of your soul, thoroughly knowing every sentiment, every hidden burden you carry. Now, in this holy atmosphere, I want you to courageously re-examine your entire life through the lens of eternal truth. My child, examine your heart to see if there is anything, any shadow within you that is silently taking the holy place that rightfully belongs to me. Is there anything of this finite world that you are striving to hold onto too tightly? Gripping so blindly that it leaves your hands with no empty space to stretch wide and receive the blessings, the fresh and grand revelations that my Father's heart yearns to bestow. Are there toxic relationships, fallen habits of the flesh, or selfish, rutted systems of thinking that have taken root too deeply, too firmly within your ego, causing your spirit to become calloused, no longer sensitive to listen and respond to my gentle yet authoritative voice? Bravely open wide the door of your heart, so that my spirit may freely search, illuminate, and manifest every dark corner within you. For I want you to thoroughly understand that I, your merciful Father, come to your side absolutely not to condemn, accuse, or judge, but to deliver you from every shackle of sin. I expose the wounds not to make you feel ashamed or disgraced before the world, but to pour the oil of healing grace completely upon your soul. Remember the wondrous story in the scriptures of the prophet Jonah of old, when he intentionally fled from my call and command to board a ship to Tarshish. He thought he could hide from the eyes of the Lord, but I allowed a great storm to arise, so that within the stomach of the great fish amidst the dark ocean, Jonah underwent correction in transparency, humbled himself in repentance, and offered thanksgiving. From that very place of affliction, I delivered him, restoring his mission so that he became a redeemer who altered the destiny of the vast city of Nineveh. Today, my discipline upon your life always carries such a good, merciful purpose. If I am pointing out something or someone that needs to leave your life at this hour, it is because I am about to replace it with things far more divine and precious, a deeper, more glorious life in my essence, and a pure heavenly joy that this world can never give, and no power can ever snatch from your hands. Behold, my little one, engrave it upon your mind that you were not solemnly created by me to live a mediocre, small life or to drift along the corrupt flow of the age, but you were born for a grand, Divine mission. You have been chosen by me, set apart from among myriads of people, to become a bearer representing heavenly influence, to be the salt of the earth and a radiant light amidst this volatile, dark world. But my child, to be able to walk and live fully in that royal calling, you must learn the spiritual secret. That is, to live separated from the clamor and noise, the false vanities of the world. This does not mean I command you to withdraw or hide from human society, but that you live in the heart of the world, while absolutely not belonging to it, not being assimilated by its rotten values. I am continuously seeking faithful children in whom I can place my full trust, those to whom I can entrust spiritual strategies, supreme revelations from heaven to shift the times, valiant spiritual warriors who will never be shaken or swayed by public opinion or the talk of the world, nor governed and controlled by the cowardly fear of the flesh. Just as the Apostle Peter once wrote to the believers everywhere under glorious inspiration, that you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Today, I am seeking that very simple heart of obedience within you, a soul that does not need to know every answer beforehand, does not need to hold a clear map, but is always ready to walk in complete faith, step by step each day, solely because you know intimately that the one holding your hand tightly to lead the way is your Almighty Father, the one who has never failed. Oh, my precious child, I speak this to your spirit so that you may be completely set free. Never continue to evaluate or quantify your self-worth through the prejudice-filled lens of the past, or through the mistakes, limitation, and weaknesses you once carried. My omniscient eyes do not look upon you the way shallow humanity ever looks. For humanity only sees the physical outward appearance, whereas I thoroughly search the inner heart and clearly see the source of latent value, the great seed of glory within you that even you yourself have never recognized. Look back at the history of the kingdom of light. When I chose the prophet Moses, he only looked with insecurity upon his slowness of speech and lack of eloquence. When I called the leader Gideon, he only saw the poverty and weakness of his clan. And when I called the boy David, humanity and even his own relatives only saw a small, ordinary shepherd boy in the wilderness. Yet my eyes saw in him a great king filled with spiritual power. Now, I look at you, and I see a mighty spiritual warrior, one who moves in perfect rhythm with the summoning call of heaven, a breaker of every shackle of darkness who opens a smooth pathway for countless other souls to follow behind. But my child, you must dare to place your full trust in what I see. You must courageously abandon every old definition, every wounded label that the world has imposed upon your life, to joyfully receive the new identity, the new royalty that my own hand is bestowing upon you at this very hour. That is an identity sealed and guaranteed by the precious blood and glory of heaven, immutable forevermore. Do you perceive why the kingdom of darkness and the powers of obscurity have continuously raised such fierce attacks and violent siftings against your life throughout this past season? It is because they are utterly terrified of the supernatural power, terrified of the seed of glory that you are carrying within your heart. They are in dread of the divine, holy summons upon your life. And they intimately know a horrifying truth, that if you courageously stand in the exact royal position I appointed for you before the foundation of the world, thousands upon tens of thousands of sinful souls out there will be set free. The dark barriers of separation will be shattered to pieces, and those imprisoned in the shackles of death will be ushered into the kingdom of light. It is because of this terror that the enemy always seeks every devious stratagem to distract you, sowing doubt and confusion into your mind, urging you to delay so that you remain forever immersed in uncertain insecurity. But I say to you, you are my son, my daughter. You are not permitted to allow yourself to be trapped or confined within that subtle deception for even one more moment. I have bestowed upon you the exceedingly mighty spiritual weapons of heaven. Remember the authoritative affirmation in the letter to the Ephesians about putting on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Taking the shield of faith with which you can extinguish all the fiery darts of the wicked one, and taking the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. Use those very powerful weapons. Stand up in the posture of an overcomer. Clothe yourself in the full armor I prepared from eternity, and step boldly onto the battlefront as a glorious messenger who has been faithfully entrusted with a grand responsibility from the everlasting kingdom. This is the very season of divine convocation. The season when royal children will decisively step out of hesitation and compromise with sin. There is no longer any room for a lukewarm lifestyle, a half-spiritual and half-worldly existence that causes my Father's heart to ache with deep pain. I am conducting a great purging and sifting within the ranks of the saints. And at this hour, you yourself must make the ultimate decision for your destiny. Which side of the kingdom will you choose to stand upon? Make your choice, not with empty professions from the tip of your tongue, but through practical, committed action, through a holy and righteous lifestyle, through a complete dedication in secret, and through absolute obedience right in the midst of the clamor of the world. My beloved child, my Father's heart has never sought the shallow applause and praise of men. Nor do I need magnificent yet soulless religious programs and rituals. That which moves and resonates within the heart of the Father is your very sincerity. A yielded heart, ready to listen and act upon my word in every single minute detail of your